It was the kind of morning that made you wish you could stay in bed. Rain lashed against the cracked windows of Willow Cafe, a small, time-worn diner nestled on the outskirts of Portland. Inside, the air smelled of burnt coffee and rain-soaked coats. Ethan Carter sat in the corner booth, his flannel shirt damp, and his eyes heavy with the kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying the world alone. The single father of 6-year-old Maddie, he worked 2 jobs and still barely made rent. Life, lately, had felt like a constant uphill climb, one that left his legs trembling and his heart aching. Across the table, Maddie was coloring a picture of a dog. She didn't notice the worry creasing her dad's brow as he counted the last few bills in his wallet. 2 pancakes, please, Ethan told the waitress. It was all he could afford. Then she walked in. Soaked to the bone and out of place in the tiny diner, a woman with striking silver hair and eyes the color of storm clouds fumbled through her designer handbag. She looked about 40, but there was a quiet grace in her face that made her seem timeless. "Do you take Apple Pay?" she asked the waitress, embarrassed. "No, cash only, sweetheart," the waitress replied, not unkindly. The woman bit her lip, clearly flustered. Her phone was dead, her wallet gone, left in a taxi somewhere between the airport and this nondescript diner. The other patrons watched with passive disinterest. Without a second thought, Ethan stood. "Hey, you can sit with us," he said awkwardly. "Breakfast is on me." The woman blinked, surprised. "Oh, I couldn't possibly, It's just pancakes," he chuckled softly. "It's no big deal." And somehow, in that small, unremarkable corner of the world, a stranger's kindness stitched a moment of unexpected humanity. They sat together, Ethan, Maddie, and the drenched tourist, who introduced herself simply as Anne. She asked about Maddie's drawing, laughed at the lopsided dog, and listened as Ethan spoke about his late wife, his 2 jobs, and the tiny apartment where the ceiling leaked when it rained. "I don't mean to pry," Anne said gently, "but how do you do it?" Ethan shrugged. "You just do." For her. He smiled at Maddie, who beamed back at him with pancake syrup on her chin. When the check came, Anne hesitated, then reached for it. "Please," she insisted. "No way," Ethan grinned. "A promise is a promise." Outside, the rain had softened to a drizzle. As Anne prepared to leave, she pressed a hand to Ethan's shoulder. "Thank you," she said, her voice thick with something she didn't explain. The moment passed, and she was gone, just another face in the storm. 2 weeks later, everything changed. A sleek black car pulled up outside Ethan's apartment building, the kind of place luxury cars never visited. A sharply dressed man stepped out, holding an envelope. "Mr. Carter?" "Yeah, I'm with the Hawthorne Group. Miss and Hawthorne asked me to deliver this." Ethan stared. "Hawthorne?" The name sounded familiar. Wasn't that the tech company everyone was talking about? He tore open the envelope. Inside was a letter in neat, elegant handwriting. "Ethan, sometimes, the smallest kindness leaves the deepest mark. You helped a stranger when you had little to give, and you did it without expectation. I want to return the favor. There's a trust fund now in Maddie's name for her education, and an offer of employment for you at Hawthorne, better hours, better pay, and health care. You reminded me what humanity looks like. I'm grateful for that." And beneath the letter was a check with more zeros than Ethan had ever seen in his life. His knees gave out, and he sat on the crumbling front step, Maddie's small hand slipping into his. "Daddy?" she asked. He wiped his eyes. "Everything's gonna be okay, sweetheart." And for the first time in years, he believed it. Message. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness ripple far beyond what we can see. In a world often hardened by indifference, it takes one selfless gesture to remind us of the good that still exists. Because you never truly know whose life you're touching or who they might turn out to be.